Good morning and welcome to the show, to Women Who Rock with Success. This is your show host, Ms. Diane Windbush, and we're so thankful that you took the opportunity to join us on today. Don't forget about our expo that is coming up on March the 22nd from 10 to 2 o'clock p.m., and this will be at the Hollywood Community Center beginning at 10 o'clock, and it will end at 2 o'clock p.m., so this will be as a pampering session for women in attendance. We also have a women's luncheon that will be coming up on April the 12th. It's also located at 1560 North Hollywood Street, and that's Memphis, Tennessee, and the zip code is 38108. And so that event is going to start at 12, and it's going to end at 3 o'clock p.m. at the Hollywood Community Center, as well as we're going to cap it off on May the 18th, and that's also going to be a women's luncheon, and that's going to also be held at the same exact location. And that event will start at 9 o'clock a.m. in the morning, and that's going to be a weekend Saturday event. And so we have some great speakers that will be lined up for the event for starting in the month of April as well as the month of May. So you don't want to be able to miss those opportunities, and they are free to the public. So we thank you so much for all of your participation, and for all of other upcoming events, you can go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. So today we have an awesome guest that is on our panel on today, and we're going to get right into the broadcast, and it is none other than Miss Theresa Siaw, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So let's do a little history about her. She is a social entrepreneur and community leader. Theresa is who currently directs Omni Care, a multi-location health clinic for the underserved. She's also founded and directs Omni Medical Student Training, which helps students who have trained at foreign medical schools prepare for residencies in the United States. So we're not going to go over the entire bio. We're going to let her come in, and she can be able to share some information with you in regards to her background. So welcome to the show, Theresa.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Perfect. So just give us a little bit about you.
So I've been in the community in the Humboldt Park area for nearly 8 years. My son's father was a doctor in the area for close to 20 years, and he passed away in 2014 in an unfortunate boating accident. I've always been a giver, but on that magnitude where you have to give to thousands of people and you help thousands of people, it was a kind of a different area for me, and it's something that was different, new. You know, you help people like your neighbors or family members, but helping people outside of your inner circle and giving back to people and helping people look for homes and helping people just get back to, everyday life. So that's what he instilled in me, and basically, and I try to do that with my son too as well. And that's how we built our business, is basically by helping everybody, by giving people the best customer service possible and treating them like human beings. Because right now in this day and age, we're living in a world where nobody's treating people with respect anymore. And being a woman, having that motherly instinct, you just want to always try to give back and help people. And that's why our business is successful. So when we had Omni Care, my son's father passed away. We lost everything. We didn't lose all of our patients, but we lost everything. The building, we lost, connections that, you thought people would be there right behind your side. Instead, people were just over there trying to take from you. We were able to get back on our feet in less than a year and built 12 clinics within, since 2014 of December all the way till now. We have 12 clinics, and we're in 49 nursing homes in the Chicagoland area.
Oh, that is tremendously Awesome, and unfortunately we are sorry for your loss, but that is awesome. Getting back in the community is very, very important. Whether we're building a business or whether we're launching a business or such as yourself, running for politics, this is a great strategy to be able to connect and network with individuals. I agree totally what you had stated before about the training. There's less training that individuals have, and so that was one of my components or nuggets for launching, my entrepreneur business was to get in and train people, because a lot of times individuals miss the full concept because they don't have the tools and the resources. Wow, that just hit a light bulb when you stated that.
Yes, it is very basic things that people are looking for. People are looking for respect. People are looking for be treated as a human being, or they want to be treated as family members. So we have 5,000 active patients just at our one clinic, and that's our staple office in Humboldt Park, located in Chicago. And it's just that when I ran for office, I got 30% of the vote, just because I spent a lot of money on advertisements and other things, but a lot of people knew me just because I was part of the community. And if you're not part of your community, you wouldn't know, even speaking to a business perspective as well, you wouldn't know what the people want and what they need. And our community lacks so much, and I was living in a bubble. Even though I've been part of the community for 8 years, I wasn't really a part of the community, meaning I wasn't listening to every little needs and details. And when I was shocked when I became when my son's father passed away, those 4 years right there, that's when I became a part of the community. That's when I felt I was intertwined within the community. I understood that people were hurting. It's not just me going to work, and that's all I have to do is just go to work, make my money, and drive home and live my life. At that point, when you own your own business, your work, everything you do is part of your work. Anytime I have a conversation with somebody, I'm advertising myself. I'm representing my community. And a lot of people will say negative things about Humboldt Park. It's nothing. We just the fifth deadliest neighborhood in Chicago. But I have to make sure that our community is better. And this is why I ran for office, is because a lot of people think, and they had the stereotype that minorities are the ones that are constantly in this uphill battle, that we can't. There's no future for us. And I always want to make sure that, us as women or us as minorities, of people of color, that we are representing our community as the best way possible. And that's by bringing resources to our community. We need to make sure that the people, are able to buy homes, not be able to constantly live in this, I always call it generational welfare, that, we think that it's okay for us that, we can't get a mortgage, we can't do anything else better because we're part of this community that told us that we can't do better. And I want to make sure that we are able to do better, because my parents came from Ghana. They came from a, third world country, and they made it for themselves. And my parents always, my daddy said, I have an inheritance. My dad always said, you have two things in this world that I never had the opportunity. You were born in the U.S., and you could get anything over here. When you go to places like Ghana, you're born over there, you have to get a lottery to come here to the U.S. So you're not guaranteed to have that opportunity in life. But we have so much opportunity because we're American citizens, and we have education, in a system where you didn't have to stop your family, and you could actually go into school and do something, make something yourself. So I want to make sure that the people in our community know that just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you are limited. Yeah, we might be limited. I'm a black woman, and yeah, people say things to me all the time, oh, you're black, or you're a woman, you can't do this, you can't do that. I want to make sure that we're teaching our younger generations and the people next to us that we are being able to break those barriers. And it's okay that you're a black person. It's great that you're a black person. It's okay that you're a woman, because, you have emotions. Yes, we do. And that's what a lot of people kept saying. They're like, my political consultants get telling me, you can't do that because you're a woman. I said, why? Because you show too much emotion. I'm like, I have too much emotion if I get upset? They're like, yeah, if you get upset in a certain way, it's like you can't handle the job. And I said, why do people think this way? He said, that's how people think. Like, and then being a woman is, right now women are taking over in politics. We are 51% of the population, but we're only 11% of us are actual leaders. And I want to see more women becoming leaders. I want to see more women guiding each other into those roles and not pushing each other down and supporting one another. And that's what we have to do for another people, and that's what I'm trying to do for our community. And I noticed that a lot of times when I was running, a lot of women were saying that I'm going to open my own business. And if even though I lost, I feel like God has bigger, better plans for me. But it's by inspiring so many people that thought that they could never be inspired before, and by leading by example. And that's all. I think that's what we need to do, and that's what we need to continue to keep doing for each other.
Mm-hmm. Wow, awesome. So, what compelled on the political side? What compelled you to run for alderman? And then share a few experiences. Has the run have already been completed? Was you the winner, or are you still a candidate? Share with us about that. We're excited to know about the political side of your movement.
Yes. Running in my area, I was against all odds. And, I'm one type of person that when somebody tells me I can't do it, I'm going to go ahead and try to do it.
Right.
My parents always told me that if they say it's impossible, it's possible. It's just maybe that person, maybe it was impossible for that person, but it's possible for this other person. And that I was running in an area that's heavily Latino or Latina in the area, and mostly Puerto Rican. A lot of issues with racism came about in our political campaign versus being black and being a woman. Some women were saying that, this is, very Catholic, very religious women were saying, this is a man's job. You should not be able to do this because you're not a man. Some people say that, we don't going to vote for you because you're not Puerto Rican or anything. But I got 30% of the vote, which says a lot. And I was first on the ballot, and I worked my butt off. I mean, I'm the type of person that if I'm going to put my all into it, I put everything into it. And yes, we're in Chicago. There was a little bit type of corruption that played in the political. But I didn't know about mail-in ballots. I did know about mail-in ballots, but I didn't know mail-in ballots was going to get the incumbent 30% of the vote, of his votes. So, that's one thing that I could have to say that, some parts of Chicago, elections do need to change. But I had a great experience. I met so many people, and even though I did not win, I do not feel like I'm a loser or I lost anything. I felt like this was the foundation of me for something else better yet to come.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I absolutely agree. Perhaps it can be a launching pad for you to be able to open up different doors into politics if it's something that you wanted to change. As I was overgoing your media kit, I saw where you had, was pictured and photographed with some Hispanics, and I thought that was very awesome, getting in the community, because a lot of times individuals, they are business owners, they are professionals, they perhaps maybe have degrees or what have you, and they'll run for an office, but they don't get in there and get their hands dirty with the community. You have to put your feet down. You have to get your feet wet, because people don't know who the individual is unless they become a part of the community. So I love that strategy that you have as far as getting with them and continue to get in the community, because you're still building momentum with the people, with the citizens. So the next question was going to be as well, Chicago has had a very strong report card as far as negative in a lot of violence in a lot of communities. And so I guess the next question would be, was that a percentage of you running for office? Did that make a major impact on you running? I don't know if that was your demographical area or location, but did that have something to do with you wanting to run?
Yes, it does. It does. Because one thing that we do in our company is that we hire ex-offenders or people who had a record before. And if people know what Humboldt Park is that Humboldt Park is a lot of people. It was, one of the foundations of the Latin kings that came in the area. A lot of my, I say family, but the employees, their family members were former gang members, or they're still gang members. Because, when at one point in time, one of my employees told me that in order for me to go to Roberta Clemente High School, I had to join the gang because you get beat up every single day. So those people were your family members. And, having a mother or a father working every single day, or not just every single day, but majority of the day, having 2 or 3 jobs to make sure that they're providing for their family, or their family members were incarcerated. So if you want to say that you want to be part of the community, you have to make sure that you're helping the community as well, too. So I do hire people. I give people second chances. I overlook what they have done in the past, because I know that whatever you've done in the past doesn't dictate what happens to you in the future, because you do get a second chance at life. And I'm not the judge of what somebody else has done. I have to make sure that I'm leading you to a good path. So majority of people in our area have been formerly incarcerated. And nobody really talked about that on the campaign. Everybody kept talking about affordable housing, a whole bunch of different things. But people did not understand the dynamics of certain parts of the area of our community, which we have close to 40 to 50 ex-offenders that return every single month back to the community. And our community lacks jobs. We have abandoned storefronts. We have all over the neighborhood. And if in order for people who are to not become a repeat offenders, how are they going to? They need a job. Otherwise, they're going to go right back to their old ways of selling drugs and going right back to jail. And that's something that I couldn't stand myself, because even though even though I was not born in those circumstances, it's just that we're putting this cycle up. And this is what I'm a type of person. I want to break systemic barriers, because we are putting these barriers in ourselves, up for ourselves. And that is the hugest mistake. And that is what nobody wanted to see, or another opponents my opponents wanted to show, is that that we do have these problems. There's a lot of negatives in our community. But in order to solve these problems, we have to be able to bring resources to people that are the ones that are hurting, or the ones that are being condemned by society. So that was my biggest platform, and trying to eliminate, issues of, we keep saying that we're bringing affordable housing, but, that's all talk. I want people to understand and be able to decipher for themselves that, there's certain, you hear Trump, you say that, let's build a wall, build this fear in people. And when you build this fear in people, people do not rely upon, let me go dig up that information myself. You should be able to look up the information yourself and be able to decide for yourself without me pushing you or pressuring you and saying that, we have to build a wall, or we have to have affordable housing, and you have to live in these circumstances. Because when you limit yourself, you're purposely making these people powerful over you. And that's what I want our people in our community to understand.
Wow. I do agree that sometimes we don't understand the locale. We don't understand the demographics of the area. Sometimes an individual may try to politic or what have you, or a community servant, if you will, would try to implement something in a community that is not actually befitting for that area.
Correct.
So even though affordable housing may be suitable at a specific time, but just not that time. And so I feel that if we do a lot of research, we know where we are, we get the tools and resources of what the people are saying, what their needs are first, and then we can be able to go in and tackle that source that is I guess plaguing, if you will, the community. So that can be something where the citizens can look forward to, I have this alderman, I have this mayor, because it's going to be additional opportunities for you, because what you have done, you have broken a barrier and say, look, I may be a female, or perhaps it was a challenge for me to be able to go in and put my name in and register as a candidate or what have you, but still that's breaking a barrier down. So it can be able to pave the way not just for you, but women men that are coming, to lead behind you. So with that being said, what would be your next phase? What else would you like to be able to achieve in the political arena besides, we'll say, if it's not the alderman? Take, for instance, if something come up the next, we'll say, 48 months or what have you, what is it that you would still like to be able to run for as a candidate to make sure that your voice is heard in the community with the citizens?
Well, I just want to make sure that everybody's voice is being heard, no matter what type of color, skin you are, or who you are. I just feel that a lot of, everybody wants this. A lot of things in politics is about how can the politician help themselves. And a lot of people do not understand that. So when you bring affordable housing or all these type of other things in the organizations into the area, you always want to have a mindset of, what does that person benefit from it? Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people do not understand, because in Chicago, people have become so lax to the politicians because everybody keeps saying, every single time I kept knocking on doors, they're like, what are you going to do different for us that these politicians haven't? Because there's no point for us to vote. Our voice is never being heard. And my thing is, what I want to do is I want to be the voice for the voiceless, like for the people in our community, not just in our community, but for other people in our around the city of Chicago, because a lot of people are not being heard. I just keep seeing more people getting rich, and yeah, I could be part of those people that have money and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you have to make sure that people are being taken care of. My business does not succeed without people advancing themselves. People wanting to do better for themselves. That's why we have medical students that go in foreign medical schools. Like Monday, it was match day. And I get so happy because our students are actually going to be doctors at U.S. hospitals like University of Chicago, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic. And I was a part of their success. And that is what I want to do. It's just that making sure that we are making our next generation, filling them with the resources and the tools so they can be successful. And I want to make sure that everybody across the city of Chicago is able to have that same opportunity. Even if you live in Hinsdale or versus you live in Wilmette, you have the same opportunity for a person that lives on the south side of Chicago or the west side of Chicago, and you give me the same tools. And I might want to go for a more job that's more county-wide or just, within our area, so I could make sure that the people are being represented at all over the platform, all across the platform. And that's what I want to make sure, that our voices for everybody's being heard. Because my third thing was education is a huge thing for me. I donated $35,000 from Roberta Clemente High School so they could have their after-school program. And that was a huge ordeal for me because I wanted to make kids know that you don't have to go into a game. You don't have to be a statistic this summer, because in our area, everybody I seen on Facebook, when the weather breaks, there's going to be a lot of shootings. And I want to stop that and make sure that there's not a 12-year-old that's dying or a 14-year-old kid that got shot in the head, because that's happened every summer. Not just once a time, you hear one incident. It's maybe about 15 to 20 incidents of a kid dying in our neighborhood. That's just in our neighborhood. And the issue is that there's no resources. That Chicago public schools have, been defunded, and they can't provide summer programs. So if you're a working mom or a working dad or a working person at all, you don't have any sports or any resources to go to. Like, remember, there's the Boys and Girls Club. Those are places you have, but we don't even have those type of resources in our neighborhood until a private citizen has to step forward and say, hey, let me give $35,000 and save 380 kids off the street, and have basketball players come over here and encourage these kids to make sure that they are able to stay on the right track. And that is what I want to do across the board in the city of Chicago.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it seems like it's going to perhaps maybe take some networking with some organizations as well.
Correct.
To be able to pull together, and then once the organization comes together and provide a pooling network that can be able to be stronger in numbers and also stronger in revenue for you as well as those that desire to connect with you. So we're going to switch gears here. We've talked about the political arena and your successes over that, and even though you did not become the alderman for the 26th district, but still you're still a winner because you're still willing to be able to make an impact and change for the community. So let's switch gears to Omni Care. Tell us a little bit about that, what type of demographics it reaches, and how can people interact with your organization?
So Omni Healthcare was founded by my partner, Dr. Gupta, after my son's father passed away. He had a clinic in the area. He had a clinic in the area for close to 20 years. And a lot of people in the area just kept calling me and saying, you can't leave us. You can't leave us. And Dr. Gupta was able to step in and take over the practice. And through that, I have my business, Omni Medical Student Training. I came up with the name of Omni for both of the practices is because it means all. It means that we all stuck together even after my son's father passed away, and we kept every single last patient that my son's father had, and all the businesses where people had the nursing home. So it's all or nothing with us. If one of us leaves, we all leave. So it's more of a family-oriented type of business, and it means a lot to me in a way that a lot of people will disperse after hardship or whatever, but we all stuck together. And by providing services for everybody here, in the majority of the people in the community, a lot of the times people have moved to other places. So we represent more just than Humboldt Park. Our business goes all the way to Indiana, where people have moved over there, and they still come and see our doctors as well. So I thank God that, we're able to have kept the business alive even after my son's father passed away, to make sure that people are giving the same care and the same love and unconditional love as once before. For our student training program, my son's father was a foreign medical doctor, and he said that it was always hard for foreign doctors to come over here and make a life. And for them to be a doctor here, you have to get training, some type of training here in the U.S. So it brings opportunity for other people. And close to 2020, I think 2026 is when, majority of the doctors in the United States, they're going to specialize, like become surgeons or plastic surgeons or, radiologists versus primary care doctors. If you probably see right now, if you go to a doctor's office, you probably have a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant that sees you. Majority of those doctors are not becoming primary care doctors, so it gives the opportunity for foreign medical students who graduate from a different country to come and be a primary doctor. I'm glad that they're giving an opportunity, because some people, this is their lifelong dream and their goals to become a doctor, and they're actually living it right now, and I'm able to help them to do that.
Mm-hmm. So what is your next phase? What is the next chapter? I know we talked about politics, in regards to changing for the community. So what is the next phase for Omni Care? What would you want to see, we'll say, on a long-term aspect for your students?
For a long-term aspect on my students, we want to branch off, not just being only in Chicago. We want to go to places such as in Detroit. We know that our demand is really high right now. And it's just that we have a lot of criteria, if you apply to any type of college, we have certain things that we make sure that we are dealing with students that care about their education. We want to branch off and do more business in other places, in Miami, in Detroit, because a lot of our students live in Canada or are Canadian, and a lot of our students go to the Caribbean medical school, so Miami is a point of access, and so is places in Michigan up a little bit more north of us. In the political arena, and I feel that I'm going to keep doing, inspiring more people, making sure that people are educated about that they can choose and that they do not feel pressured in who they choose. And I want to make sure that we are giving the best part of ourselves back to the community, because that's what our clinic is about. It's not about making money, because sometimes people will tell us we don't have insurance. We still see the patient no matter what. Omni Healthcare, we have always been payer blind. So if you don't have insurance or you can't pay today, we're not going to send you a bill. We've never been that type of business. We've always been the business of helping out people. First, it becomes your health is the utmost is first, and then paying is probably the last on our list. So we make sure that our patients is being well taken care of, and if they do need insurance, we go above and beyond by helping them to get insurance, because some people do need surgery, and it's very hard for a doctor to say, a surgeon who is going to say that, oh, I'm going to see the patient for free, and they're not. And we have to go get that patient insurance type of Medicare and educating the patients that they can't get insurance. I mean, when I was walking the ward, I noticed that a lot of the seniors didn't even have Medicare at all, and they're over the age of 70. They're 70 plus years old, and they qualified, and that's just because you have to educate so many people, or their family members are not helping them to educate them or getting them those type of resources that they need.
So with just only a few minutes left, share with the listeners of how they can be able to follow you, connect with you. If you have any social media handles that you would like to share with the listeners, just let them know.
Yes, definitely. So I have my website that's still up and running. It's TheresaSiaw.com. It's TheresaSiaw.com. I'm always on Facebook. I'm always putting out new job opportunities that's in the area, new job fairs, alerting people about other things that are happening in our community and within the Chicagoland area. My Facebook page, you can search me, Theresa Siaw on Facebook and Instagram. I don't post too much on Twitter, so I'm not a big Twitter person.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you so much for being our guest today. Listeners, we have had an awesome guest on today, and she has shared tons of knowledge and information with you all to be able to get you geared in your own community, and then you could also learn and get some information about Omni Care. So connect with this guest so you can be able to get empowered further with your brand, with your niche, and with your business. For all upcoming events, just go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com, and hopefully, Theresa, we will be connecting back with you to try to get an update or a follow-up with you in the mid part or the latter part of the year. And thank you so much for being with us on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, enjoy your day.
All right, you too. Have a great day.